Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to this session of Let Us Talk It webinar. We are extremely delighted you taking out time and joining with us. All those who have joined in from YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, please do comment in the comment section, give your feedback, ask any question, and we'll take them at the end of the session. And we always want and we hope that we can help the community sharing the knowledge. This is a free knowledge sharing platform where we think that we can help each other by just sharing the link, sharing what we have learned maybe in the comment section, subscribing to our channel, Let Us Talk It, and we can go a long way. And we do these webinars every week, 4 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are our professional webinars, which deals with HR, leadership, technical, motivational, personality development, and many more areas. So all the days on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have this webinar from 12 to 1 p.m. EST, Eastern Time. And on Friday, we have Let Us Talk It Youth webinar from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. And for any other information, or if you want to be a speaker, or you want your youth to participate, or you want to be a mentor for the youth webinar, you can email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. And for the youth series, we do train the youths who will be participating every Tuesday and Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. So this is a great opportunity for public speaking, learning, making the youth aware of the topics, as well as learn the skill of talking. So if you are interested, please email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. Having that out of the way, we have a very interesting topic today. Did you ever find an alternate use of your bowl of yogurt? A hat, perhaps? We turn the bowl, making it a hat. Or have you tried new salad, or a new fresh of a bowl, designing it in a different way, or you tried a new way of fixing your computer? It can be anything, but we forget that this can be creative also. So the topic today is, I am not creative, a self-limiting belief people have, and how to beat it, because we have some creativity for sure. And what is it, how we can explore, and all of that, we have with us to talk about that. We have with us Sridhar, and he is an innovation facilitator, coach, author, and a TEDx speaker. He has worked in Ogilvy and Mather Advertising in India for 25 years, where he was a board director. And he acquired his coaching certification from the Coaching Foundation of India and has been practicing as an executive coach since 2010. He received a citation of honor from the Coaching Foundation of India in 2019. He was part of Dignity Foundation, an organization serving the cause of senior citizens when it started. His mission is simple. It is to help people think different and do better. He has had a long career as an advertising professional, innovation facilitator, and executive coach. He has been fortunate to Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry. He has been fortunate to work with several leading client organizations and their leadership teams. He has facilitated over 400 ideation workshops for clients, helping them think differently, do better. And as an individual, he thrives in learning new things and working with new people. He derives greater satisfaction when he has been able to make a difference to an individual or a team reach his or their creative potential. His current challenge: help people think better through his online talks, webinars, and workshops. The best part of it is how to unlock their creative potential. We welcome you, Sridhar, and we are honored to have you in our Let Us Talk It webinar. Over to you.
Yeah. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes. No, we can see you. Can you share your screen, please?
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
The presentation now?
Yeah. Can we have just in the present mode? Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely delighted to be with you all. It's an honor to be invited for an exciting organization, from an exciting organization such as yours, which is full of a lot of young people. And that's really exciting to be talking to people like you who can actually uh, do many things and you're already doing many interesting things, and this can probably open up new ways of looking at issues. So I'm going to talk about something called I am not creative. It's been a test that I've been carrying out for the last 20 years. Okay. And whether I'm in a wedding or whether in a conference or something like that, and over the course of the conversation, I'll say, are you creative? So they said, no, I'm not creative. Then I asked, saying, what do you mean by creative? No, I don't draw, I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't act. So their idea of being creative is many of those things. Whereas being creative is far, far bigger than this whole business of writing and dancing and singing kind of stuff. So so this has become my favorite topic. And because people say I'm not creative, they're actually limiting their own beliefs. It's a self-limiting belief which stops them from exploring new things and doing new stuff. Okay. So this is I am not creative, but the subtitle to this, but I wish to be creative. Okay. A lot of people say I'm not creative, but there is this small little yearning that comes along with this thing, but I wish to be creative, but I don't know how. Right. So who are the people we admire? The people we admire are people like him, Steve Jobs, right? And he did amazing stuff. And if you read his book and read his story, the way in which he did something, then went out of the company, came back, and then rejuvenated it completely, etc. I'm only speaking from an outsider's perspective who read his books and been inspired by him. I don't know anything else about him, right? And this man, Bill Gates, too, right? Again, this whole business of helping people with improving productivity with the software and so on, so on, continuously doing something new. And in his case, he's also brought excellent leadership to follow him and take the company forward, right? So if we were to really look at this, in India, there are a lot of people like Vishy Anand, Sachin Tendulkar. Some of these names you might recognize, but all these people are people who have done completely new stuff, which was not there before and have won the hearts of people and admirations of people. But why do we admire and appreciate these people? So there is a very interesting quote from Einstein. I like that very much. He says, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. A lot of us do that. My results last year was 100. This year, I'm not going to be happy with 100. I want it to be 500, but I will only do what I did for 100. And you expect 500. How can that happen? Right? It's not going to happen. So Steve Jobs again, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Okay. Now, when I was in Ogilvy, I was on the board of the organization. I had already done 25 years with Ogilvy, and in 2000 I turned 50. Now, um, I don't believe in the concept of retirement. If I was in Ogilvy by this time, I would have retired. I said, I don't want to retire, so I'm going to step out of the craze. I'm going to take a risk and start something on my own. And when I wanted to start something on my own, I did not want to start advertising. I did not want to start direct marketing, which I started for that company. I said, I'll start something completely different. Then I said, let me go to the core of all of these businesses. The core of all these businesses are ideas, creativity, and innovation. So I trained myself in Boston in a company called Synectics on how to think differently. They teach you how to think differently. Then I did an online program with the Open University Business School on creativity, thinking, and change from the Open Business School kind of thing. Then I also did one on leadership, right? So through this process, then if you know the company's name IDEO, IDEO has a whole lot of online courses. I have done almost every single course that IDEO offers in terms of understanding how to be creative, how to look at product creativity, all sorts of stuff, right? So the reason why somebody wants to be creative, the reason why somebody wants to be different is we don't want to be Xerox copies of each other, right? Would you agree with that? We don't want to be Xerox copies of each other because each of us has some individuality to offer. We stand for something and we are not the same thing as somebody else. My elder brother and I might look the same, but we are different. We don't necessarily agree on everything, and that is what makes us who we are. So we don't want to be Xerox copies of each other, and therefore we must understand how to be creative, right? So here is C.K. Prahlad, who said, you can't be marginally different and expect to do big things. You have to be radically different. So if you're an ambitious person, if you're an ambitious company, you have to be able to do things radically different so that you actually attract the attention of a lot more people who will benefit by what you have to offer. Okay. So the Synectics company has a very interesting statement. They said the ultimate solutions to problems are rational. The process for thinking of them is not rational. So this is it. Now, when I want to think differently, I must be able to explore all different ways of thinking and then fit logic into it later on. But there is no need to think logically to think differently. So can you make out what this number is? Most of you would make this out to be number 9. Would this be number 9? Correct? Yeah. How do you make this into number 6 with one additional line? Go to make this number 9 into number 6 with one additional line, and this is the answer. Now, when we think of one additional line, it's fairly good chances that most of us thought about one additional line as a straight line. And we did not think of the letter S as a line. It's a curved line, but it's a line. Okay. So let's try this again. There's another answer, which is 1 into 6 is equal to 6. So this time the number 6 is another line, right? So what you see is that number 9 becomes a 6 this way, and another way to make it 6 is this way. So what happens is that if we keep our minds open, new possibilities occur to us. And because you keep the windows of the mind open, fresh air enters. So can you draw a triangle in your notebook, okay, or in your mind, okay? Chances are you're drawing a triangle like this, which is the right answer, okay? But there is another way of drawing a triangle, which is this, a triangle standing on its side, okay? There is one more way of drawing a triangle, which is this, which is an upside down triangle. But the interesting thing is when somebody asks you to draw a triangle, we don't think of an upside down triangle. Why? Because we know this is the right answer and I can't go wrong with it. So this excessive emphasis on being right and not being wrong limits our options, limits the kind of options that we might look otherwise, right? So one of the things that we need to learn and understand to do is go beyond the first right answer. So the question to ask is, fine, this is a very good answer, this is right, but what else can we do? How else can we do it? So what are the barriers to creativity? What stops us from being creative? There is a very interesting book by a very senior consultant in India called Rama Bijapurkar, and she has written, the title of her book is "We Are Like This, Like That Only." It's a classic Indian expression. If you've been to India, if you've traveled in India, I mean, there are everybody will say we are like this only. Now, we are like this only is an excuse for not willing to change. Okay. So the obsession about one right answer is the thing that comes between us and a new right answer. So here is an interesting example. Apparently in Japan, they teach arithmetic to young children in school. Okay. So what they do is that they say, okay, tell us in how many different ways can you get the number 100. So you can have 10 into 10, or 120 minus 20, or 65 plus 35, or 500 divided by 5. Now there are 4 different right answers. If there are 40 different students in the class, it could be 160 different right answers, or you know, it's possible in as many different ways you can do it. If there are 50% duplication, it can still be more than 4 right answers. So the whole idea is to see how can we arrive at as many different right answers as possible, because if you're a company that is keen on being innovative, the more answers you find, higher the chances that you'll be innovative and different from your competitor. So here is a very interesting shot of an Eiffel Tower. Anybody who goes to Paris shoots the Eiffel Tower in the exact same way in which it's already available in the picture postcard, but this is not an angle you will find there. So here is a yearning, here is a the thirst for doing something different. So that's why you shoot this differently. Now in India, people play cricket. It's called as stepping out of the crease so that you can hit a sixer. Okay. So here is a very interesting tip from Bill Gates, who said, I choose a lazy person to do a hard job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. Right? What a lovely thought. I think it's really interesting. Find a lazy person to do a job so that you can find an interesting, easy way to do it. Yeah. So there are some definitions I use in the context of this work. The first definition is to understand what is an idea. An idea is a prescription for action. Right? Every idea statement will have an active noun, active verb, and a noun. Do this, change this, add this, remove this, modify this, and so on. Right? So call Sridhar from India. So that's an idea. Right? Call is an active verb, and Sridhar is noun. Yeah. So that's a prescription for action. Right? So the guidelines for generating ideas are, it is an individual effort. Even if you're doing a brainstorming, first let us generate ideas as individuals and then do collective work, right? So give yourself a creative license when you're doing any kind of creative work. A creative license is, this license is issued as this thing to act creatively, to ask questions, take risks, make mistakes, enable change in the pursuit of artistic production. So just imagine every company gives their employee a creative license. A license gives you the freedom to do some things which may not be normally available for us. So if you have the creative license, you will definitely explore far more interesting options than what you'll do if you just actually focused only on the right answer. Right? So if you see the way things work, you have your comfort zone within which we all operate. We have the comfort zone within which we all operate. But where the magic happens is outside the comfort zone. And I'm sure you have found this as an organization. So every time you do something which is very comfortable, first capture all the ideas that you're familiar with and comfortable, and then say what else is possible, right? And that is when you'll start going towards the magic that can happen. So one of the ways of generating ideas is to phone a friend when you're working on a problem or an issue. Instead of just repeating to what you're looking at, just dial a friend and say, you know what, I'm working on this. If you're in my position, what would you do? Right? If you have 5 friends, call up all those friends who are very different from you. Don't call a guy who is a clone of you. So I purposely call guys who generally disagree with me. There are guys who fight with me on things. I call such people because their perspective of the world, their opinion about issues, and their ways of solving problems are very different. And just by making a phone call, spending 30 minutes can get me as many as 20 different ideas. You won't believe it. Okay. So in my toolkit for thinking, I have an active verb booklet. There is a small booklet with 1000 active verbs. The way in which we generate ideas is open any page randomly and pick up any active verb randomly and see if that verb can apply to generating ideas for us, right? If one verb does not work, you got 999 other options. Huge number of options. You can't go wrong. Okay. The other thing is you ask yourself provocative questions. Provocative questions are questions that make us uncomfortable. It's like a jolt, it's like a whack on the side of your head, right? So, provocative questions are, what if you not going to be held responsible for the outcome? What ideas will you think of? Right? What if you're the owner of the company? What if you're a company's toughest competitor? Right? What if it was Bill Gates? What if it was Steve Jobs? All these are provocative questions. The other thing that we do is to understand how to look at out of the box ideas. We always want out of the box ideas. We ask for out of the box ideas, but somebody turns around and says, but what is the box? If you don't know what is the box, how can you think out of the box? Right? So here is the box. Now just imagine that I'm inside a room which has got no doors, no windows, no ceiling. Height to the wall is 6 feet. I'm inside that room, right? Just outside the room is another room exactly like that. No doors, no windows, no ceiling. Height to the wall is 12 feet, and that room is filled with my assumption. And the third room is exactly like that. No doors, no windows, no ceiling. Height of the wall is 24 feet, and that room is filled with my logic. Now I have to get out of my room. How can I get out of my room? There are only two options. Either I dig a tunnel and get out of it, or hope to God that somebody comes with a helicopter and throws a rope for me to climb. So those are extraordinary answers. So the box in out of the box is defining what are we boxed by or boxed with. It is our assumptions and logic which are holding us back. So when you're thinking differently, when you're looking for ideas, break this open and then say, challenge my assumptions, challenge my logic, and then you'll get something new. So write down as many assumptions you have about your issue and generate ideas challenging this. All right? You take anything, I can demonstrate this to you, take any problem and then say, these are the assumptions that I think govern the way in which this has to be solved. Right? And suddenly you find that that assumption can be challenged and that can be changed. Okay. The other thing is, if all your wishes were to come true, what would your new ideas look like? And what do these wishes suggest for you? Now, all of us have a wish list. I mean, there are times, sometimes we even use the expression, I wish I could do this. I don't have to do this. Right? I wish somebody can come with an idea. All this is there, but how do we make your wishes come true? The purpose of the wish list is to make it come true. The purpose of wish list is not just to create a wish list and then keep looking at it, right? That's the point that we need to look at. So one of the ways in which we teach people how to look for ideas is through provocative questions. Okay. If there is no fear of failure, 100% success guaranteed, what ideas would you consider? Let's say this is an auspicious moment and you think of an idea. Whatever idea you can think of is guaranteed, 100% success guaranteed. So what would you attempt to do? What are the ideas that you can think of? Because the moment we think of an idea, we think, no, this is not possible, that's not possible. And that is the self-limiting belief which makes you think you're not creative. So here is an auspicious time. Everything that you think of is absolutely guaranteed to be successful. Then give me all the ideas that you can think of, which is going to be completely different from whatever you thought of in the past. Okay. What if you appeal to the heart and not to the head? What ideas will you think differently? All right. Most of the time, when we operate an organization or work in an organization, there is such a premium paid on logic, right? Such a premium paid on thinking from the head and not from the heart. We're not able to do this, right? But If you think from the heart, and if you're really sold on it, I can always figure out the logic to fix it. Right? Now that's the name of the game. So use your heart, think of interesting things that actually excites you. Then you have to figure out how to sell the idea to the stakeholder, the person who's going to will invest. Then you actually figure out way of making a logic come true. So you actually talk about benefits, you talk about unique features, all of that will come, right? So what might he suggest? So one of the ways of getting new ideas is what might he suggest? I think he suggested an interesting idea saying, if you want to do something, always choose the laziest person in your team and give the task to him, because he'll find out the easiest way to do the job. Interesting idea, right? If you want something done, always give it to the person who you know is lazy. He will figure out some interesting way of doing it. He might know somebody else who can do it, right? Or he might call somebody who can do this for you. So this is true. So think in terms of what Bill Gates might suggest, or what might Steve Jobs do, right? He always did something different, more powerful, more interesting, more aesthetic, well designed, right? And he had the very audacious goals, right? So that's the way in which he might think. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this guy, Mr. Bean. He's in a popular show from UK. He's a very crazy guy and does all sorts of funny stuff. And I saw an interview where he appeared, and they asked him, "How do you think of all these kind of crazy things?" He said, "I always think like a 9-year-old anarchist kid." If you're a 9-year-old anarchist kid, what kind of ideas can come to your mind, right? So you're not a 70-year-old Sridhar. You're a 9-year-old anarchist kid. So what do you do? I mean, you can think of amazing things that you'll normally not think of. So you capture all those ideas, right? And then what is the focus? Once you have got a whole lot of ideas, what you need to do is to understand what are you trying to do? What are the things that matter which you're trying to solve? And what are the things that you can control in terms of making it work? So focus in the center of this point of intersection. The point of intersection where what things that matter and things that you can control happen, and then look for solutions within this context. Then you can get off the ground much faster. Sometimes you might have ideas for things that matter, which may not be in your control, right? So you may have to get some things to be done so that it can come in your control. Fine. The next thing that you need to do is to understand how to look at prioritization. Sometimes this matrix is called as the Eisenhower matrix, the importance versus effort matrix. I think he did important versus urgent. So if you see impact and effort, where the impact is high and effort is low, you have quick win solutions. So that's very nice to have. If the impact is low and then the effort is low, what you got there are fill-ins, right? Small things which can fill the gap and get things moving. They're not very difficult to execute, but it builds a momentum. It's like starting your car and you're not hitting 100 miles an hour right in the beginning. You're moving from, starting 10, 20, 30, 50 and going to that. So these are fill-ins which are momentum builders. Then you have very low on impact, but high on effort, which are called hard slogs. We don't want to waste time there. You're putting, very often we fall in love with an idea, and in spite of knowing internally that it's going to be a hard slog, we pursue with it because of wishful thinking. But then if you look at it very logically, we wouldn't want to do that. Now, where the impact is high and the effort is also high, these are major projects which can be executed over a period of time, right? So the other question to ask is, what should we continue to do which we are doing well? What could we be doing better? What should we start doing which we are not doing currently? What should we stop doing which is unhelpful or ineffective? These are provocative questions. So when you are thinking of an idea or solving a problem or seizing an opportunity, ask these very simple, sharp, interesting questions. What should we continue to do which we are doing well? You're a successful company. Obviously, you're doing a lot of things well. So look at that. What could we be doing better? Where is the scope for improvement? Where can I build better efficiencies or effectiveness and so on? What should we start doing which we're not doing currently? And what should we stop doing which is unhelpful or which are unhelpful and ineffective? Okay. So that's the story that I wanted to share with you in terms of my talk. So if you're thinking that you're not creative, you can rest assured that you're wrong. Every one of us is creative. We came fitted with creativity and were born into this world, and we have been using it often. But as we become older or grow older, take on more responsibilities in the organization, and we take more accountability and so on, we don't want to take risks. And because we don't want to take risks, we play safe. And once we have started playing safe, it has become a habit. You know what is the nature of the habit? Habit, in the word habit, if you remove the letter H, a bit remains. If you remove the letter A, bit remains. If you remove the letter B, it still remains. That is the nature of habit. So habits are very difficult to change. So if you get into the habit of thinking that I am not creative, sooner or later you will not be creative. So please do not believe this. Please challenge this belief. First, if somebody else tells you that you're not creative, don't accept it. And if you're standing in front of a mirror and you're saying to yourself you're not creative, don't accept it. Challenge this and make sure that you have around you a bunch of colleagues and friends who are constantly telling you, hey, you're not somebody who is not creative, you are creative, right? And therefore, get out of this self-limiting belief that I am not creative, and I'm absolutely delighted to answer any questions that you might have.
Wow, Sridhar, absolutely blown away with each and every sentence that you spoke. Trust me, I love a session when it's fast moving and it has so much creativity in it. So, thank you so much. An awesome presentation, I must say. And I truly appreciate that myself in having that prescription of calling for an action, of calling you and having you as a guest speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm delighted. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great session, Sridhar. So yeah, it's pretty interesting that there are institutes which foster this creative thinking. I would love to know some case studies or testimonials or examples, or what are the wonders that could have turned a normal, I mean, a seemingly a person who seems to think he's normal, but he has done something creative. Yeah.
There are many. So there are business cases, there are personal cases, and so on. And we've done work with. See the assumption, for instance, we did some work years ago for a small home computer called ZX Spectrum. I don't know if I know this. This was way before all these computers came. That had to be hooked on to a television set as the monitor, right? Now,
Yeah.
there was a retailer who was selling it, and because it was priced at about 4,000 rupees, they assumed that only well-to-do people will buy that home computer. Now, the sales were not doing well, and we were called in. And first thing I wanted to know was who was buying this computer. And they give me the names of some of these very affluent people. We went to their homes and we said, can we see what you're doing this, using this for? Those computers were inside the actual box in which they were delivered, including the thermocol packaging. It was not even open. It was inside a Godrej cupboard, right? Then we said,
Yep.
let's get to some more customers. They gave us the names of some more customers. We went and visited them. There we saw the computer connected to the television set, which was a monitor, and a whole lot of software lying around. And we spoke to those people, and it was very modest homes. What you would call in India middle class homes, right? And then when we started saying, why did you buy this? And they said, very interesting thing. The parents said, Education is the only asset that we can give our children. So we invested in this. See the motivation difference. Now, the assumption that we made that only rich people will buy this was completely wrong. And the client was not focusing on these people to get more children in, rather than focusing on this affluent people. So we changed the selling strategy. We roped in many of these kids that who were doing well on this computer to come during the weekends to support the sales team. And we said, for every computer you help us sell, we'll give you so many additional software packages, right? They sold. Those guys were amazing. Any couple who came, this guy will go and talk and say, uncle, I'll show you this, auntie, I'll show you this. And it was so charming to see young kids demonstrating this computer and zapping the mind out of them, right? What a lovely thing to learn. So this is the point I'm making.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. And when you say, wow, this is so creative, so that means that job is done. Yeah, we have here Venkata saying, great inspirational presentation, sir. Yeah, truly agree. Before we take more questions, I just want to remind all of you that we have our exciting Let Us Talk It Youth webinar tomorrow from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. The topic is, do supermoms need help also from the family? Why, what? And it includes all the super dads as well, because as soon as I say super moms, some of the dads are not that happy. So, but it means all those who take the majority of the work at home. So why, what, when, and how of this simple but an impactful question, which we all should reflect for the moms who wear multiple hats. So that's our topic for tomorrow. Just a reminder. And we have also webinars all set for next week as well, for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. EST. And we also do yoga sessions on Wednesdays and Sunday. Wednesday 9 to 10 p.m. EST, and Sundays from 10 to 11 a.m. EST. Okay, so do we have any question, Vamshi, from the YouTube or Facebook?
No, not yet.
Okay. Any other question anybody wants to ask? I see here Prakash Pakala, Venkata Arnav. You can unmute and ask the question.
No, we are good. Thanks. It's a really good session. I joined a little bit late, but it's very good session.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining in. Yeah. So here in the question. Okay, Venkata asks, any suggestions on procrastinating? We are creative, we know that everything, but okay, we'll do it some other time. Yeah.
So I'm a major procrastinator, and I am a last-minute specialist. The way I put pressure on myself is that I put deadlines, and then I tell my wife that you start pestering me, right? So get a partner to help you, who starts pushing you. You know, I speak to my wife here. My daughter lives in Seattle, and I put a message to her. My first grandson, he and I are writing a book together. So he puts pressure on me, saying, hey, grandpa, have you done this kind of stuff? So get some external pressure, right? That is one thing. The other thing that I do is that I give myself rewards, right? If I have a tight deadline to catch, I'm saying I'm going to buy myself this. So I buy books most of the time. No, so I'll order a Kindle book or something like that, or I'll buy myself a new shirt. I'll buy something else, right? I reward myself. Now, I think it's a nice feeling to do that, and we have to find our own ways of beating procrastination. The thing that happens with procrastination is that most of the time we think there is no price to pay when we procrastinate. We don't know that, right? So if you have not really mastered it, And if you're a last minute specialist, like if I've been given 60 minutes, I can finish the job in 10 minutes, then I'll only start at the 50th minute. But if I want a quality presentation done, for instance, so I write passionately, edit carefully. I mean, this presentation is not a very large presentation. It's not a very long presentation, but I had to prepare and edit. Editing takes more time than preparing the presentation. So I wrote a book with 50,000 words in it. Okay. After writing the first chapter, I just got into a mess. I procrastinated. Finally, the publisher gave me an ultimatum. He said, listen, if you're not interested, then I'm not interested. Obviously, you don't want to write the book, right? Luckily, I had an editor who was helping me. So he put some sense into my head, and he and I started having a conversation every day in the morning. The conversation was not about writing. The conversation was about solving problems, thinking of ideas, and so on. And during the conversations, I was actually beginning to get more and more ideas about the chapters I would write. The editor did a brilliant job of persuading me by having conversations which were relevant. And not once did he say, Acha, you must write at least 1,000 words today, which is what I didn't like. I hated that idea. But the more he talked about interesting things, then I felt compelled to capture what he talked. I mean, his name is Gopal. I'll say, hey, my God, Gopal talked about this. So I used to write it and send it to him the next morning, say, hey, Gopal, do you think I captured it right? He said, it's brilliant, but I think I would add 1 or 2 more points. So this collaboration worked. So find collaborators who also procrastinate. Don't collaborate with perfect guys. They'll make us feel small. Collaborate with other procrastinators. It's like, if I want to lose weight, I want to work with other guys who are trying to lose weight, right? You're into fitness, then collaborate with people who are into fitness. So you please collaborate with other guys who are struggling to kill procrastination. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck.
I mean, wonderfully said, I must say, and be my friend.
Very
whoever-
interesting answer. Yeah, very interesting.
So we can have a procrastinator group, Sridhar, right?
Yeah, have a procrastinators club.
I think sometimes the perfectionists and they scare us, and you are right actually.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, there is a very interesting saying: perfection is a bus that never arrives.
Very true.
So true, so true. Perfect. So any more questions?
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll get in touch with you, Sridhar, offline on seeing how we can, because definitely there's a lot of dearth of, creativity, though people have it innately, but tapping that is always, to be explored. So definitely I will touch base offline because it's a great topic, and also across, professionals and businesses, everybody needs, because it is all that, one single thought or, that may trigger a lot more good things, whichever career paths they are in.
Yeah, I have a toolkit for thinking. For instance, I used to run these programs in workshops in hotels and clients' offices. So now, because of the pandemic, we're not able to do that. Now I converted that into an online program now. So we run workshops online now using the same tools and techniques I used to use otherwise, right? So
Oh, great.
I'm quite happy to help you. No problem.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. What what are some of the example workshops that you do?
See, the basic workshop is about, my program is called Creative Blockbusting, right? And the book I have is called Unlock the Real Power of Ideation. It's available on Kindle as well. So in these programs, what happens is, first I have a client who's coming and telling me that this is the problem that we are grappling with. And then I ask these following questions to the client, right? What is happening today, right? What would you like happening instead? Then once he has answered that, what is coming in the way? Then once he answered that, I ask him, what is the biggest barrier? And once he has got the biggest barrier, we say, is that what you want ideas for? So we have, by this small set of questions, which will take about half an hour maximum, we would arrive at a very short problem statement. It is like diagnostics. Once you have a problem statement clear, then we just say, who are the right guys who will help us find a solution for this issue? Let us say I have a client who wants to reduce cost by 50%. Right? Who are the guys who will be able to give me cost saving ideas? Not the salesman, right? But the purchase manager might be able to give me cost saving ideas. So many kind of things like that. Then once we have the right kind of people in the room, we say what tools and techniques should we use to open their minds and get you fresh ideas. And we go for quantity of ideas. So if there are 25 people in the room, there was one workshop I ran, they generated 1,200 ideas over 4 hours. 1,200 ideas, all written on Post-its. So every workshop I quote that as the action standard, saying, listen, there was this group from ITC, there are 25 guys who generated 1,200 ideas. So what do you think you can do, right? So they'll say we'll do 900. I'm saying you don't have to beat the target, but have a target. So they will finally find out whether they said 900, they actually generated 600. If I didn't do it, they would have generated only 100. So motivation is a very important issue. So go for quantity of ideas, then have a clear process of how do you go and do step-by-step selection. Most of the time, what happens in selection, you will say, no, this didn't work in the past. Then you throw away most of the ideas, very little remains. So you actually have a very clear step-by-step process. So this is the way it works. We need to help them. So it is good if you're having ideation sessions, have one person facilitate the session who is not actually, sitting and doing the work. He only facilitates. He's like a traffic cop. A traffic cop does not get into the traffic.
Yeah. Sounds very good.
Yeah, very true. A method to the madness is what you're saying, and that's so true. Okay, I have a question. Like, as creative people, usually those who are creative or trying to, be creative, they get inspired in sessions like this or others. Now it's so much available on YouTube, everywhere. So they get creative. Since creativity is so subjective and they don't get a good response, they are the ones who fail, or then the next step becomes very, very difficult for them. When it is a habit or it's a way of work they are doing every day, it's like a comfort zone they go into, as you said, going out of the comfort zone, and it doesn't fail, it affects them very badly. So uh, I mean, how to tackle that, or how do you have any suggestions on that area?
Yeah. So I think creative people must understand that they're not closet creative people. If they have ideas which are very interesting, what will give them joy is when the idea is accepted and implemented. They're not creating things and then just collecting it inside, right? So they must understand the value of helping other people seeing value in their ideas. If I use the word marketing, they all shy away. I'm just saying help the other guys see the value in what you've done, that show it to him in the best possible manner. Right? If I have a fantastic painting, come and show it to me where there is some light, am I right? Then I can see it properly and the colors properly. So if you show it to me in a dark place and you don't even care whether I'm looking at it or not, then I'm not going to pick it up. So help me, motivate me, enthuse me. So creative people must understand how to communicate, right? I'm not asking them to become salespeople. Because the moment I say salespeople, they immediately look down upon salespeople. That's not the point. But help me understand the value of what you're doing. If you don't help me understand, I mean, if you want the child to have medicine, you want to cajole it in some fashion, right? You got to say some stories to it. You got to help her take it. So do the same thing. So use common sense. Don't sit on a high horse saying, I am creative, you're an idiot. I mean, that idiot has the money, you don't have the money. That's the problem. But creative people can be trained to sell creative effectively. I've seen that. We've done that work when I was in advertising. We used to show creative people how to sell creative work to clients, because you have to talk benefits first. Don't show this work saying, I did, 15 different advertising layouts and this is what I like best.
Right.
Right? The client says, very good. So will you put your money on it? They'll say, no, this is for you. You have to put your money on it. See what happens?
Right. So it's just not doing something wonderful or creative. It's how you present it, how you, let the people know about it. It's also important, the communication, as you said.
Correct. If you write a
So
song, sing it for me, right? That's kind of stuff.
Oh my God. That's, yeah. Or you find a good singer to sing your song, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's all about communication. That's the whole issue. It's not about pride. It's not about fear, failure, nothing. It's about communication. Help me understand the value of what you've done and then see what I do. I mean, that's the point. We
Right.
do it all the time. We know it.
Right. Absolutely. Very
I
well
ask these
said.
people one question, just last 1 minute. I ask these guys that if you fall in love with a girl, what do? You wait for the girl to find it out, or you go and tell her?
Right.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I have to post on Facebook. Just kidding.
Exactly. So fine. But there you're telling the whole world that I'm in love with this girl, but not tell the girl that. No, I think this is a very important question you're asking. People must be trained how to communicate the power of their ideas. The word sell seems to somehow make it derogatory. So let's give it away. But say, help the other people see value in what you're doing. The moment
Right.
they see value in what you're doing, they're going to support it. That's the point we want.
Right. And leading to this, I mean, just the question appears that nowadays some people they show that creativity way too beyond, way too much sometimes. That also has been happening.
Like,
So you are like.
what?
No, I'm saying, I mean, for a particular person that, okay, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at everything. So that is
Mhm.
also, it for the other person is like, oh, I can even not do this. So how can I be even equivalent to that? I mean, if you want to become a YouTuber, suppose. So
Hmm.
another YouTuber is doing so many things, so many activities. I have this talent, that talent. So a young YouTuber having just a talent of maybe drawing doesn't feel like, okay, I can start a YouTube channel just showing my drawing. That is
Yeah.
also, I find,
Yeah,
somewhere
it's a
happening.
very, very real problem.
Mhm.
I mean, even I have that from time to time. I have some close friends of mine. There is one prolific writer who writes a book every 2 years. I've written only one book. So every time I say, hey, Ambi, how come you're doing it? Yeah. So he said, I'm doing it because I want to do it. You're not doing it because you're lazy, right? So he says that. So it's a question of saying, don't put yourself down by looking at others. Look at what you can do and do it. So you might need a couple of cheering team for you. So have around you people who will encourage you to do it. Like for instance, in LinkedIn, I have written at least about 120 articles, LinkedIn
Wow.
articles, right? Because I'm getting damn good response from there. I wrote an article about David Ogilvy visiting my home in India. I mean, that was a blockbuster of an article because the kind of responses I got are amazing, right? So
Mhm.
once you get that, you're intoxicated with praise. Then you want to do praiseworthy stuff. Then you
Mhm.
work hard, right? And I constantly find various ways to do things. Like for instance, uh, there is a site called CoSchedule. There is a app called Headline Analyzer, right? You can write a headline and it will tell you what is the attractiveness of the headline, or the readability of the headline, and so on and so forth. So all my headlines I test it on that first. Now there is another app called Hemingway app, right? Hemingway app, you just write out everything, copy paste it on that app. It tells you which of these sentences are complicated, which of these sentences are written in passive voice versus active voice, and so on and so forth. And it helps you make your article becoming more readable. So all my blogs, I put it there first, get it sorted it out, and then write. So when people tell me that you write so well, I don't tell them that it is because of the Hemingway app, but I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're telling all our viewers and attendees who are attending, so you better, for these amazing tips also, you should attend our webinars. But
Yeah,
thank you.
the key insight is that you must be lazy by nature. If you're lazy by nature, you will find faster and quicker ways of doing things.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, definitely I agree with that, Sridhar, actually. So, I mean, I'm big time into finding out, trying to do things in the most automated and
Yeah, so I have my call my friend as a technique. So I got, for the same job, I'll have 7 friends. I call them one at a time. So, so last week I called this guy, so this week I'll not call him. Otherwise, they'll say, this guy is leaning on me too much, I might charge him. They'll give him bad ideas. So I think these are simple, nice little things. You enjoy the process. Occasionally, something can be wicked, right? But I think if you start enjoying what you're doing, you will find interesting thoughts in all of this, and you can find somebody who's always capable of giving you very good advice. My daughter is one of them, right? And her mind is completely different from mine. And my first grandson is another guy. He's the biggest critic of what I write. And he says, Tatu, this is not clear. Right? And then that's tit for tat, because he sends me what he writes. And then I say, hey, Arhan, this is not happening. So he will also do this. But we have this game. And finally, you couldn't find a single fault in what I wrote, right? So I have to send him some reward for it, that kind of stuff. But so make everything interesting, exciting, fun, competitive, but without competition, right? Once you do that, you find that your standards go up, definitely. Find partners in many of these kind of stuff. Some sad souls will always find fault with whatever you do. Avoid them with birch pole. Don't go near them.
Of course. And we are really thankful to have you as a friend. Let us talk it, friend, because you'll be soon getting some, other work. I mean, getting some things approved as having a, friend, the one of the 7 friends. So be ready with that. But all jokes apart, fantastic presentation. And the reality of it, what strikes out is that yes, this is a problem and you have a solution and a way to think about it. So that's the part. Just loved the session, Sridhar. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm delighted. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, audience, for sticking around. Yeah, Venkata, you have something to say?
No, just to say thank you to Mr. Sridhar, and thank you for arranging you all these kind of presentations every day to keep life make smoother every day.
Yeah. Thank you, Venkata. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Venkata. These words also inspire us. And yes, we hope of helping the community with whatever we can. And we hope you join us. Or as I said earlier also, if you can share the links, or you can visit our YouTube page, our Facebook page, YouTube link, and so on and so forth. It happens every week. Yeah. Thank you so much. And yes, again, reminder, tomorrow we have a very interesting youth webinar coming up from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. And with that, we end this session. Thank you everyone for joining in. We truly appreciate and have a great weekend ahead.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.